Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pasture Farm. Today we are in Westlock, Alberta at a grazing conference, and my special guest today is Lana.
Lana Salant.
Lana Salant. Lana, tell me a little bit about your story, what you're about.
Ethical Omnivore Movement. I can't believe I'm being interviewed by Greg Judy. Everybody's going to get a kick out of this.
Lana, as soon as I heard your story and what you're doing, I'm like, I got to interview this lady. I just got to get it. I love your passion and your journey, what you're doing. So explain to people what you're about.
Okay. Well, part of what I'm about is the Ethical Omnivore Movement. It was a passion that I had in 2012, just to bring sustainable meat eating to the masses. Because at the time, the vegan movement we're starting to see a rise in it. So we're also at that same time seeing vegans that were in support of monoculture, mostly, because that's what they are in support of, attacking the farms that I am passionately in support of. So we were seeing this rise of that, and then the attack of good people doing things like Sir Greg Judy does here, and it kind of, the fact, and I was all by myself at first. I just started it, called it the Ethical Omnivore Movement. Just wanted to talk about my passion for local sustainable food, especially meat, because I kind of rescued me out of my little stint with veganism. And it just went, and now 11 years later, we just had our 11th anniversary. We're up to about 40,000 followers. I know, right? Between a few of the social media outlets, but we are going strong, and we. I get so choked up when I talk about how much these farms and farmers mean to me, and you are the heroes. You're what we should all be in search of right now. It's what we need for the planet. It's what we need to heal the people. Yep. That's how I started my career. Was my background is in functional fitness and holistic health, and it just went into agriculture, and then that's been the passion ever since. Yeah. I taught yoga. I'm not sure I could touch my toes anymore. Honestly.
Well, talk about your journey in veganism. You were there almost how many years?
In veganism?
Yeah, veganism.
Well, I taught yoga for about 35 years, yep. and I still dabble in it a bit. I wasn't vegan very long.
Yeah, you couldn't do it.
I couldn't. 10 months was all I could last. And at the time, I would call myself as an elite and athlete as I have been in my life at that point. And it took me, within a month, I knew it wasn't the diet for me, but peer pressure, and it was the thing everybody in the yoga movement was trying at the time. And now this is back, for myself, when I did it, was back in the early 90s. And that was kind of before even the internet. So now when 2012, now when I started Ethical Omnivore, I had already been far out of my stint with veganism. But by 2012, now we saw the rise of the vegan. Yeah. We're seeing the decline of it now, though. We've seen peak vegan numbers. We're seeing a lot of noisy people right now, but all of their systems are failing, right? Yeah. All the restaurants are going bankrupt. Beyond Meats and Impossible Foods, that's all tanking, right? Yeah. So, we've seen, and now we're seeing the rise of the regenerative agriculture movement. It's exciting, isn't it?
I love it.
Thrilling.
I love it. Yeah. You were talking earlier about you've got friends. It took 20 years, but when they crashed, they crashed.
They crashed. Well, here, she's famous, and I'm going to tag her when this comes out. So Lierre Keith wrote a book called The Vegetarian Myth. And Lierre Keith was vegan for 20 years. And her testament is that, because I hear it all the time, well, I've been vegan for 5 years and I'm good, and she's the first one to say, well, you can do really good right up until you absolutely don't. And she had a serious health crisis at the 20-year mark, and a lot of it was irreversible. And now she's a regenerative farmer herself. Yeah, yeah, and she's a huge spokesperson for our one and only superfood. I'm going to say this one thing. Red meat from ruminants is our one and only superfood as humans. We can, it's 100% bioavailable nutrients too, 100%, we digest it 100%, and it has every single essential nutrient. Now, people will call vitamin C essential, it's not. But we do have vitamin C actually in meat, in a lot of the shellfish, and in the liver of ruminants as well. Yeah,
beef
and
liver.
yes, absolutely. And if you ferment it, even more so. So it's got everything. We absolutely don't even need anything more than red meat, nose to tail, of course.
Well, you were talking about the gut. Our gut's not designed to break down
The cellulose.
Of all these veggies.
Yeah, and we're also, we now know about oxalates in green leafies, and a myriad of other things. Of course, we know about gluten and on it goes. And we've got more and more testaments. Like if you take a person who's fully carnivore, which we see, and I'm not an advocate for that, because we wouldn't be here as a species if we were either vegan or 100% carnivore.
Right.
We needed it all to come into play, right? And we still do.
Yeah.
But meat's got to be the standard. It's what we built it all around.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it out of our diet.
Yeah. Well, why would you take the most important nutrient, like bundle of nutrients out of our diets? It makes zero sense to me.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can limp it along for as long as 20 years. But that'll be your absolute undoing. Yeah. And when I see, and I said this to you earlier too, I says when I see people promoting it for children in their formative years, and Steve Kenyon will tell you this, I have absolutely no problem going online and saying it's child abuse. Cut and dry.
You're not developing your kids.
No. With the most important thing, like the brain development and just all of it. And it all comes down to the quality of meat, but meat, for sure.
Well, I was telling you the story of the vegetarian. She was a rabid vegan. She would not touch meat. And when she came onto her farm and saw the animals, and the animal came up and licked her on the hand.
And he had that little daisy.
Had a daisy sticking out of her mouth. She's like, I have to eat that animal if I'm going to survive.
Yeah.
And she did.
Yeah.
And today she's a fit of health.
Well, I tell a story about when I came out of veganism, and the very tail end of it, I went on to this yoga retreat, and I got my advanced yoga certificate, but it was a month-long vegan retreat, and I'd already, just before I went on it, I already decided that I'm kind of done with it. So the first thing I did after this retreat was get a great big juicy red, and I tell my cells sang to me. I felt it like a superhero, right? Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, I've come up against a lot of people that were, one time they thought they were vegans, and they're like, Greg, it ruined our health. It absolutely ruined our health.
Yeah.
And I know people that were so enamored about it that they were afraid they even go into the garden, they might step on an ant and kill something.
Oh,
that kind of thing.
It gets to be a little bit, not a little bit, let's cut to the chase. It can be, it's a mental illness at one point, right? When your health is failing, your hair's falling out, your teeth are rotting, your sullen eyes, you're listless. Like for me, I had all of that. I even got depression from it.
Really?
Yeah, I got very, very depressed without red meat. And again, almost one bite of it secured me. It was the magic pill right there. And our community of ethical omnivores, we have got a high degree of former vegans and former vegetarians in our group.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's why we are compassionate.
Yep.
And like the girl that came out to see how, I think that if every vegan would even come on the day that we had today.
Oh man, absolutely.
The day that we had today, and you're a frog in a pasture. I had a frog in a pasture today.
Yeah.
Where do you see a frog in a pasture?
Yeah. With cattle. Cattle have been there.
Honestly, it was just everything.
Diversity.
The diversity was incredible.
And we were on Steve Kenyon's farm.
You're on Steve
Beautiful pastures covered in clovers and all kinds of different
Everything.
grasses, and
Yeah,
There was a lot of life out there.
There was, and the other wonderful bit of wildlife out there, and I'm going to keep saying this again, were the regenerative producers that were there.
There was a buzz.
Oh,
There was a buzz.
it was just
The energy in that crowd was just breathtaking.
Yeah, and if anybody could just I don't care if you have, like, I'm a city girl. I don't have cow, but I go out there with these guys and I'm part of the gang. I'm part of the gang. But you also have to know what you're promoting. You have to know, you have to smell the earth and the soil, and you have to look at the people in the eyes, and you have to hear what they're doing with their land, and you need to support these people while we have them.
Yeah.
While we have them, or we're not gonna. We're gonna have, what are we gonna have? Soylent Green, labs, mystery meat.
Yes.
And
well, you were talking earlier today about the vegans. Well, we're not killing animals and all that. Look what they're doing to the soil. The cropped soil is nuked.
Do you, with your drone?
The frog would be dead.
That
the frog would be dead. It wouldn't be there.
There'd be no bees. There'd be nothing.
None of that.
No, there'd be no sounds. Well, I'll tell you, Janet McNally, you brought her up today.
Yes.
She's got a really incredible video that her son took of their farm
in Minnesota.
And bees and you could hear, the
buzz.
And then he walked a few hundred yards over to a cash crop. Dead. It's death. It's just.
But that's where the vegans are getting their meat.
That's where they're getting
their fake
but
meat.
They don't care. I have said to them 1,000 times, monoculture kills 25 times more than pasture-based animal agriculture. And monoculture, you're killing not to eat those animals. So you're killing them. It's a crime against nature. To kill and not to eat that animal that you're killing? What is that? Where does that happen in all of nature?
I don't know where it happens anymore.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. And the fact that we do it deliberately doesn't make us wrong. It makes us conscientious consumers and producers. Yes. That we do it deliberately and look at the result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you go on to our farm in Missouri. We're in central Missouri, and people walk off and they're like, we didn't know. We just didn't know. We were fed a lie. And they walk into our cow herd and they see how happy they are and healthy, and the grasses and all the different birds and the wildlife. Like, are you kidding me? You're running cattle on this? I'm like, yes. And see how happy they are. And they're just fed a lie. They're just fed a lie. So.
And the other thing too is the whole death thing. You can ignore that you're killing things, or you can embrace that you are.
Yeah.
Right? How you raise it. And I've gone to slaughters.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, I would prefer to see a beautiful cow that had spent his entire life from birth to almost death now on pasture, being cared for, helping build the ecology.
Yep.
Go and put his head through a chute, look around, a captive bolt dropped, his head's off, he's hoisted up. It's all in a matter of 30 seconds. That animal didn't know it. What hit him?
Nope.
It's almost like similar to us right now. We had a beer, we had a nice dinner, we're walking down the street. If somebody just walked up to us and shot us in the back of the head, we wouldn't know it happened. And the last thing we remember is having a wonderful time with our friends, right? Conversely, go into a cash cropper's field and watch the slow, painful death of rodenticide, and you'll get that. And then how about the secondary deaths that the rodenticide animals cause for our raptors, right? That's what you call slow, painful, useless, wasteful
The dead zone,
no
the Gulf
reason.
of Mexico, all that stuff washing down to the Gulf. What is it? 3,500 square miles now we've created down there.
Yeah.
That's all coming off of cropped land.
That's our groundwater's
Give me
poison.
5.
I'll give you 10.
Do you have any websites or anything like that you'd like to promote?
I would like to promote the Ethical Omnivore Movement.
Okay.
And we're on Facebook, EOM. If you type EOM – you'll get Ethical Omnivore, and you'll see our lovely little logo. And we're on, our website is ethicalomnivore.org. And we're on Instagram, Just started a YouTube channel.
You did?
Yeah, I've got one video only out, so I'm gonna have another one out too, and then we're gonna have a little bit of what happened here. I'm just learning video editing, so
Cool.
yeah.
Well, Leah, it's been an honor, and I've enjoyed getting to meet you today. I was watching you on Steve's pasture walk today, and you're out there taking pictures of everything, and you're down on your knees. I can tell you're involved and you're passionate about what you're doing.
I'm so passionate, yeah.
And that kind of gets me right here, because I love to see people passionate about what we're doing. So thank you so much for this interview.
I'm honored. I've wanted to meet you for so long. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been great, and thank you, everyone. Hit that subscribe button on the way out if you would, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.